Hello everyone, it's Cogliano and you're watching the live show. If you've watched my show before, you'll know that I have been gone for about a month, and that's because I've been doing a lot of work, and I've also been kind of sick, and I'm just getting over that now. So I'm sorry about that, but I'm back now, and I hope I can put more episodes out on a regular schedule. If you're just tuning in for the first time, this is a review show, and I review the newest releases in movies every week or so, and I have three things for you this week. I Met With You, Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, and Sherlock Holmes The Game of Shadows. So let's jump right into those. So I Met With You starts out kind of slow, and I wasn't really sure what to make of this movie at the beginning because there wasn't a whole lot going on except these guys were reuniting for the first time in a year, and this is kind of a typical thing for them. They come back every single year and throw this party and just have a lot of fun together and go wild, basically. And that was kind of interesting, and that's what really got me into this film in the first place. I wanted to see what this was about. This party thing is carrying on for most of the beginning of the film, and I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to be waiting for. And then one of the main characters commits suicide. And I had no idea that was going to come into this film. And one by one, they start offing themselves, and by the end of the film, it turns out that they had signed a pact saying that if their lives were not as fun as they were back when they were 20 years old, they would all collectively commit suicide together and just leave the world where they were. And that idea for a film was pretty wild, and I was pretty surprised by the direction it started to take, because I was expecting something like they had killed somebody when they were young and they had hit a dead body and somehow it resurfaced somewhere and it became a problem, but that was not the case at all, and it was a completely unexpected turn for at least when I was watching it. And I think this was an awesome film. So I know this film has been getting a lot of criticism about the whole tone, and I think that is completely false, and this, for me, made me personally think of just what extent I would go to help my friends, and what I would be doing and what I would be willing to sacrifice for them. And that was just something completely amazing and really just grabbed my attention, and I completely loved this film. And the cinematography was impeccable. It was so beautiful and was just like something I'd never seen before. There were so many little things that they tried to throw in, and they were really cool, like when they're all rolling down this sandy hill and they have the characters holding cameras so that you can see them rotating and stuff, and it's just so many little cool things that they do, and all the color contrast and that kind of stuff was so beautiful, and it just really added to the whole experience, and I was really glad to have seen this film. So I was lucky enough to go see Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol in IMAX a week early, and my first impression of the film was that it was completely large scope, and it was just a huge scale of a film. And I think that hurt the film at times because it made the whole story kind of feel disjointed, and I don't know if this was just because they didn't connect everything as well as they could have, but that was definitely something I noticed. And there's a lot of new characters, which doesn't help a lot because you don't really know what their background is, and you don't really know what their intentions are, which is kind of not so good. But I was impressed with the performances. I think Jeremy Renner was really strong in this role, and I think if he continues to go in this franchise, which I think is the plan, I think he'll do really well. This movie also acknowledges a lot of the former film. You see a lot of the great characters from the other films, like Ving Rhames, which was totally cool, and they have a lot of throwback jokes, which was awesome. The gadgets in this film were amazing, and they had things like the hallway screen was really cool, the metal vest which was magnetized, and the inflatable backpack. Uh, they were just so cool, and they were used perfectly, and I just loved seeing all these interesting things, and all the gear too was really cool, and it definitely worked in this film, and I was proud to see that they took some chances and were able to really carry this film to another level. There are also a lot of really cool fight scenes in this film. Two of note would be the dust storm scene where there's they're in Dubai, and a huge dust storm just rolls through the city, and they're kind of on a chase to capture this briefcase with launch codes in it, and that was really, really cool, and that whole scene is really intense. And also scene where Tom Cruise is in the parking lot tower, and he's trying to stop a missile from detonating. That was a really sick scene because they play a lot with the movement of how the cars are like leaving and entering the whole parking lot. And there's a lot of cool things that go on in that, and especially when he just flat out drives off into the center of the parking lot and falls. It was so cool. There were just so many great action scenes that made up for the weaknesses of this film. I have to say about the opening scene, um, I wasn't a fan of how they were showing all of the things that were going to take place in the film. I think that was kind of a mistake, and it kind of made you look out for when things were gonna happen next. And I always that's always something that I see in a trailer, and I'll think of oh, when's that gonna come up? And that's kind of how I felt about that opening scene for this movie. So I think that was a little bit of a mistake on their part, but besides that, this film was awesome, and maybe not as cool as the third film, but definitely a great Mission Impossible installment. Another great thing about seeing this film was that there was a Dark Knight Rises opening scene played in front of it, and it was awesome. It was just nothing I expected. I was expecting them to be in Gotham and be plotting some kind of explosion thing, because that's kind of what I had picked up from some of the preview things and such. But it was nothing like that. It was a rescue mission to free Bane the from captivity of a CIA plane, and it was just a huge opening scene, and it definitely gave me the impression that this film was just going to be an amazing time, and it's just going to be such a big scale of a film, way bigger than The Dark Knight was. It's just going to be unlike any other Batman film ever made. So in Sherlock Holmes, I was pretty disappointed with this film. I thought that they basically took the good things about the first film and just amped them up, basically. And by that I mean they took the slow motion scenes and the use of slow motion in general and just overused it entirely. And they also used the disguise. They also used disguises, which was used in the first film once or twice maybe, and they just used it all over the place in this film, and I was just really disappointed that they did this. And I don't know, I thought that the film didn't really feel like a Sherlock Holmes film because there wasn't enough deducing as much as there was fighting and action, and as there were action scenes. I definitely think that Sherlock Holmes was nowhere near as good as the first one. I think the whole film also seemed a little too modernized, and that kind of, to me, didn't fit with the whole setting of what Sherlock Holmes is supposed to be about. And I think that also held the story back a little bit and held the performances back a little bit, definitely. So I wouldn't recommend that you rush out to see this film. It's something that is like definitely a rental. However, there was a Dark Knight Rises trailer, which is different from what I saw in Mission Impossible, and it was a legitimate trailer, and it was fantastic. It was it really explained like what was going to happen and what's going on, and gave you insight to like some of the new characters and such like that and whatever. And oh my god, the scene with the friggin' huge ass stadium collapsing in just everywhere, all over the fucking place. Oh my god. It was so cool. And I just could not believe it. It was so amazing. And that was all I needed to see, honestly. So that's pretty much all I have to say for today. I have two questions for you today. If you saw Mission Impossible or you saw Sherlock Holmes, I want to know what you thought of the Dark Knight previews. And if you did not, just let me know what would you do for your friends and what would you be willing to sacrifice for them. So I'll see you guys as soon as possible. I might not be here next week just because of the holiday and whatever, but I will definitely be back soon, and I will have plenty of things that I've seen and plenty of things to review. So I hope you guys liked this episode. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and you can subscribe to my channel up there. And if you want to leave a video response for today's question today, definitely make sure to do that too. So I'll see you guys next time, and that's it.